going to call our meeting to order here. We have kind of Jason Mitchell is present, and we have two other board members present here. Okay, Wendy. Right. Okay. Oh, we have two applicants today. One person to the board, Portage Township, both of them are on the here today. We do have a form. That is work. So the first item would be approving of item number 3. For a second. All in favor? Thank you. We've got minutes from November 19th. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review. If you're looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
I can print those out if need be.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're not in the back. We can circle back to that one, like, get that together.
Okay. So if nobody wants the motion, we can table for the next meeting. Yeah. What's table for the next meeting? Is there a motion to table?
Motion to table the meeting to the next meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to take the minutes of November 19th for approval. Opening up for public comment. Anybody wishing to address? Okay, seeing none, public comment. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. You're on the agenda. All this time. All right, on to new business. So, I just want to point out in your package here, you have an email that I sent January 9th. This is really just for community purposes. There was some obligation that we should have met in January for best practices that we were unable to due to some vacancies that were created on the Warren Township. And on the Warren Township. We were reworking the work in January. So I just wanted this email to go in the minutes. So for a future audit, see why today is set. If there's any questions about it, problem is resolved now. We now have a Warren Township trustee and we have a full board who has made the proper appointments. I would be open to moving on to the territory board meeting where we need to elect a chair and a secretary. So a board chair and a board secretary. Today, meeting. I'm not sure the president of the board or the board chair again did a good job here. Discussion, and do that again, even though he's not here.
I approve that. I would agree with that.
Okay. So it sounds like we're unanimous. He's not here to say yes or no, so with him, Curtis is point of. Nominate Bobby Kay to be board secretary. He's going to do it. Meetings and the absence.
I nominate.
Second. Okay. Whether he accepts or not, we've got a motion and a second. Yeah. Okay, budget approval. I'm gonna read I'm got it on the phone. This is so here's our budget. Okay. This is the township board. And this is for you.
Perfect.
All right. Got some more? So just walking through here, this was approved by Portage Township back year. We didn't get final approval from the state until December. But this is about what our property tax levy has been approved with. 4.9 million in funds, the operating fund, which is 4.9 million. We've got, which is about. Okay. So that's what the budget is. That's the levy. Okay. So as we talked about before, we don't receive any sort of money or tax levy until June. So Portage Township went out to ensure that we have enough cash reserves to get through the year while we're collecting those tax revenues. We stick to the budget as much as we can because over the next few years, it's like you to keep getting loans until we build up a 6-month cash reserve. So in the next meeting, what I'd like to do is we did Portage Township or Warren Township. Gave a check to the territory for what they had in their reserves. So their fire reserves for both equipment replacement funding and their operating funds. Those have been transferred to the territory. Center Township is in the middle of doing that for the dissolution that Portage Township had with South. They owe Portage Township money. Same thing, they're based on the tax. Give AD, they owe about a third to Portage Township to give us back. We just met with them this week to get those amounts, and so those are money. It's about a lot. That won't affect our budget. The budget is what it is, but it will help us bring the cash reserves that we need in order to not exist in loans in the future. So it's really important that we stick to the budget because this is what we have coming in this year. In the future, Warren Township and Portage Township will also contribute lit money to this because each of the townships are going to see an increase in lit money distributions starting in 2026. The agreement is those extra distributions will also be signed. So that's how we don't get that.
The loan is for how long? The
loan is a 1-year loan. So I didn't do that. I didn't send the loan. So I want to point that out. So sticking to this budget is going to be extremely important. I have some notes in here though. Some things that are not, so first of all, on the operating fund side, you can see that it's not paid for January and it's not included in here yet. And that's because we're not using the same budget software to do payroll, using ADP to do payroll. They have not, they're hiring teams between the two. So payroll, no problem. It just hasn't been attributed to the budget yet. It will be next year. So our total pay in January was $215,000, $56,000 in taxes, $51,000 Social Security tax, $51,000. So zero in expenditures now. We're self-funded, so that the expenses on that are with 2 or 3 months delay. We get billed from our vendor, the health insurance for us for like the last month, the last 2 months. So that you just haven't been billed. So that's not reflected in there. Those are all actual expenses. And then I want to point out, if you look down at line 3,500 miscellaneous, starting with expenses that we did not create line items for because A, we just didn't enforce it, and B, it's fine to not do it, we just had to trigger it. So you can see on the miscellaneous expenses, we're already. Okay. We can move money around at the end of the year as necessary, but I want to. 2 major expenses were medical exams. All the new firefighters medical exam to be in the $22,000. $80,000. And that came up that line, you know, So pointing that out, and then, the last thing I'm gonna point out is actually, let's see, third page, that's the equipment replacement fund, which is completely cash. And that was because turnout gear cost $158,000. The new fire truck, we had to make a lease payment, $86,000. And then there's some smaller items, that. So at some point later this year, we now have it. That's contributed an extra $375,000 to that fund and then sent it. So the cash, there is money in the cash reserve to appropriate more money to that. But that's why it's negative.
The year, for the years.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a standard formula that. But there's, you know, another million in cash reserves. And that's thanks to the long term. So the money is there. We'll just have to. So that cash balance is there. And all you can do is- Should be fine. So this budget's been approved by the Portage County Board, but the territory board will look at it and if you have to call. In the future, we will do this all together.
In a year or in the.
Yeah, that would possible. Before, I think, before Portage Township were to pass it, it's part of the territory. Any questions on the budget at all? Those are those items there. Oh, I already went over the next item, which was, why we were delayed doing our. So on to Mavis, Chief, do you want to describe this one about it?
So Mavis, the mutual aid vaccine alarm system, all the fire departments in the county are part of it. With our name change, we need to officially become members of that. There's actually a Mavis meeting tomorrow where they're going to vote. It's made any reason why they vote us out, but I suppose that's always a possibility. I don't expect it, but part of that requirement is that our governing body, you guys, need to bless, approve the St. Joseph County Fire Territory being a member of the Mavis agreement. So there's a Mavis agreement there. You also should have a copy of the resolution that Alex drafted up for us, our attorney, that can take a second to read if you want, or I can read it, but I read it basically saying that, yes, you guys concur, authorize the St. Joe County Fire Territory to be a participating member in Mavis. Warren Township was forever, never cost us anything, even though there is a notation in it that there could be fees, or there is related fees. But I suppose, if you had some major fires, someone got hurt at our scene and there was a mutual aid agreement, there's things in there that spell out of how stuff was covered, but it's really never been an issue. Just, it allows us to call upon other departments in the area to respond to our calls and know that we're all meeting a certain standard. 3 guys on a rig, if it's an engine, 1 guy with a tanker, 3 guys in this kind of rig, so it kind of sets some standard that you're supposed to abide by, so we don't send a rig somewhere with only 2 guys on it, and they're expecting 3 guys on that type of apparatus. So it lays out some standard that we abide by. So we probably need someone to make a motion on resolution 2025-1. Authorize us to be part of that.
Does this have anything to do with mutual aid?
It says it is mutual aid.
Okay.
Mutual aid box office. That's what it stands for. So it is mutual aid.
One thing that I like in every meeting is that as part of report on our response.
It is. Yeah.
What, then
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when you say response to everything within the appropriated footage area in Warren or
So what I,
So a good example would be if we have a house fire on Mayflower Road. We may call the city of South Bend and respond with an engine. So that's called mutual aid.
Yeah.
So, or they may have a car fire on Roger Street and call us to come assist them for some reason, and we'll go and assist them on that call. So the mutual aid agreement just kind of spells out the standards and expectations going back and forth. So whether we're going to assist them or whether they're going to come to assist us, it puts forth an agreement out there for it.
Technical United Cities and cities, there's a lot of costs outside of Warren that you know.
60 times.
How much?
60, I think, is the number we'll get to later on. Yeah. There's quite a few times that we give out more assistance than we receive. But we receive the assistance on larger calls. We give assistance on a lot of calls, but if somebody needs assistance, we go and we help. I mean, that's,
Yes.
what do you, yeah,
You wouldn't even say no.
yeah, you're not gonna say, no, we're not gonna come, and that's what the Mavis agreement does, it kind of spells out that, gives it a governing body. I think someone told me it's actually I don't know if it's a state law or something that everyone is supposed to be part of the mutual aid agreement, because statewide, in theory, we could get a resource out of Indianapolis because we're part of the Mavis agreement, but that'd go through EMA and everything else, but hopefully we never get that kind of call, but the train never derails over on Quince Road, we may need some other help, so.
How many times is Hollow?
We'll have that when we get to the chief report later, yeah, no,
you'll get that meeting.
yeah, you'll get that in a minute. So I don't know if one of you want to make a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a.
I'll second that one.
Okay, all in favor? Unanimously. Thank you. Last item under new business is the 2025 meeting schedule. Up to discuss what everybody thinks is best here. I would propose a monthly meeting. I think it's important for internal and external.
We are certain day and.
Well, I think it's a standard.
Was it Ryan also recommended not doing Mondays and Wednesdays? Right?
Yeah. It's like second Tuesday of the month, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if Mark wants to attend meetings, there could be a problem.
Yeah. You get.
It's usually you or me.
You don't have to. What's your, we could do the, I mean, we could do, what is Monday one?
Right. Monday and Wednesday. So I think Tuesday's a good number. Maybe if you don't want to do the second, do the first, because isn't your township meeting on the third? So, or we do a second. Well, yeah.
You guys want to do the first Tuesday?
And they'll be here soon.
Let's always do the same place. Yeah. I don't mind kind of moving in between here and 41.
I mean, once we got the TV and all the other stuff figured out, then it becomes more.
No, I agree.
Like, hey, you set the room this way, you just know, and you start bouncing around and that adds in. So
Yeah,
I
I just like hearing standard, it's easier to know this.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send a notice out, I'll create a calendar.
Any thought of doing it during the day rather than at 5 o'clock? Okay, okay. Yeah, I just,
We got a during the day. We'll start with 5 p.m.
Okay. maybe at next meeting, we'll go up there. Yeah, I just trying to calculate people's nights.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then our next board meeting will be on March 4th. They'll all be here. Now. I will do a notice to the Tribune so that we're covered there and then you just. Okay, there is no old business on here, provider report would be, me, and typically this is where I. Do that under this section, as well as anything else you can think of, might, you know, payroll, and then, anything Sandy might come up with. She wants to review the meeting, we would do under this. Otherwise, I turn it over to the chief report.
So you should have in your packet then, thing that's, the front page is 2024 run report. So you can see in there that it's kind of a summary, and you go down and so you understand the numbers that you're looking at when you read that out later on. And this is really just Warren's numbers, because we weren't operating as a full territory last year. But you can see for last year, out of Warren Township, we responded to 124 other calls. 60 of those were to New Carlisle Fire Department. 55 was in the Southwest, 7 to Clay down there. That next section, it defines our active units and how many times they went on various calls. The District 18 runs and 19 runs, it just gives you a little bit of how the run by and split. And again, it restates how many times they went to other districts to give assistance that you can always look at. On your second page there, aid received. So we gave out 124 times we went and assisted other entities. We had 16 calls last year in Warren Township that we had other entities come in to give us assistance. Small breakdown on our run types. How many were fire calls? How many were EMS runs? Vehicle fires, motor vehicle crashes, things of that nature. And then we always try to keep track of what our time in route is, as well as our first unit on scene, with the national standard being 1:20 and 5 minutes and 20 seconds. We're at 1:20 for en route and 5:16 for on scene, so we're a little bit better than what the national standard is for how quick our guys are out the door to a call. And then the third page in there, we've had a busy January. To start off, for January, we've done 142 calls. So our number is up for January. You can see there again, out of district runs, 6 times we went to Center Township, 14 times that month, last month we went to New Carlisle, to Clay, and then to South Bend 3 times. At least recall one of them was a disregard soon after we were called. That's more of a dispatch anomaly as much as anything. How many calls they all went on, and again, a breakdown of the districts. You can see how many they, where they went. And then aid received, you'll see we did have 10 calls, but 8 of them were during a snowstorm on the bypass. And since then, we've changed our response plan where it does not call South Bend to every single bypass call we get. That number I suspect going forward will be different, but last month it was 8 times we called them to the bypass. I think 7 of those were on the same day. So. Then your next page on that, again, just break down the calls we had last month. How many fires, vehicle crashes, things of that nature. Our response time was a little slower, 6 minutes and 12 seconds. Attribute that to the weather. Probably a good thing that we weren't there at under 5 minutes in a snowstorm. And another just miscellaneous information, again, this is 2024. We summarized the training that our guys did. Almost over 2,600 hours of training last year got logged in the various topics and things of that nature. So they're pretty active on staying up to snuff and up to their skills on sharp on all the different things that need to be done.
Does every fireman go through the training, Steve?
Yes and no. So every month, there's a required set of training that everybody gets. And that could be, I'll say it's 10 to 15 hours a month that they get. But then there's also a lot of outside training that guys can go to. It could be a CertC, it could be the NFA, it could be wherever. So sometimes they may go there for a week-long class. That's a 30 or 40-hour class on hazardous operations in rail cars. So we'll have somebody go to get that class. It's free, goes there. So not everybody goes to those trainings, but everybody completes the trainings that are put out by our training division monthly. And then last year we did 72 business inspections for businesses in Warren Township. We didn't do any inspections in the month of January. We gave everybody a break so they can get used to each other with the new territory. Beginning next month, we'll start doing some building inspections again and in that process.
Is that just one person or two people?
Every shift has an inspector, so they go out and try to do inspections. But a couple of our inspectors are now chiefs, so we got to figure out what we're going to do to have all the inspections get done. So, but we'll get them all done, but it may not be as equally balanced as it was in the past.
I can handle the training situation at points at the end, crossings. I can know I'm going to send like an 80 or 80.
You know,
You know,
it's been a battle with them for a long time. We go in spurts where they'll quit stopping for a while, and then all of a sudden they'll start stopping again. The reason they stop is they change crews at country.
yeah, they do. Yeah, right there, they stop right there.
Right.
Just before the
And
cross.
so depending on how long the train is, it'll extend back and block Wills Road.
And
Pear comes, and we tried to get them, I said, I don't care if you block Pear Road. I mean, if you had to choose between the two, I'd much rather block Pear Road than Woods, but we fought with them for a while and, yeah. Yeah. We should get an underpass though. Yeah.
Club road.
Yeah.
Like, so we're coming home from the store. I saw the guy walking around, it's like, oh Lord, I hope he called that number.
Yeah,
But after a while, he was gone, so I don't know if he was measuring,
to see
see
if
how
it's
long his bed was. He was heading north.
north, yeah, it can be a bit of a surprise.
Steve, how do you, how are inspections done on roads?
Yeah, we use ESO, so we keep track of all our inspections and buildings and stuff in there, so we use the standard fire codes that everyone else uses, so. Gotcha. And then the business come up about once a year for their renewal to go out and get re-inspected and visited.
Got it.
We try not to offer fines for violations, more give them advice that they have. We have one business in our area that refuses to allow us to inspect. So we just have it, those, okay, if there's smoke showing, we don't make entry in their building. So it's just, we can't come and inspect it ahead of time. We're not gonna put guys at risk to come and fight the fire that's in there, so.
And then understanding that, you know, what we can afford. Can you, right, if we were, you know, to do, more. What do you need to make that?
Other stuff that we'd have to buy, you're talking about, or,
Staffing wise,
actually,
besides the actual.
besides that equipment, right now, we staff 2 tankers with 1 guy each.
Okay.
If we started tomorrow, we'd put those 2 guys at 1 station, and they'd be cross-staffed between the tanker and the ambulance to begin doing that service.
So if we purchase an ambulance tomorrow, you could staff that ambulance with what we have.
Correct. Ideally, our goal is to eventually have an ambulance at each station.
Oh, I realize.
Okay, so, but if we're in terms of having the ambulance here and saying, okay, we now have to staff this every day,
Is this where you would put it?
Yeah, it's more centrally located of the three stations.
And that's what we talk
Hmm.
about, since even now.
Well, now it's open to discussion. It's dead. You know, there's no point doing it if the territory. And no point doing it if we can't do it.
And then, because of the downside, if you have somebody gets hurt across the street, that ambulance comes from the ferry.
Right.
That's the long haul. Or they come back by Meyer, up by Meyer is the other one. Yeah, so that's a long way away. So that's why I think having it here could be a lot better to the residents. So ideally, as we continue to add staff, we're gonna have those people at each station as we continue, because of, to your point early on of wanting to build up our cash reserves, we've intentionally kept our staffing low to start, with the idea throughout the year, we're bringing on those people. But if you said tomorrow the ambulance will in here, yeah, we'd shift around people and we'd begin to roll.
Mark knows, we've had this conversation on the council a few times over the years in regards to the contract.
Mhm.
Few times, people have kind of. Take a look at that.
Well, that's not my conversation.
Say we put on an ambulance, reduce the cities, and reduce the city.
Just putting the ambulance on would not immediately reduce or change that. So to answer your question, can we staff it, run it, and begin to incorporate it into our operation? Yes. But replacing the dependence on the county contract to be eliminated, we'd have to have more than one ambulance, a little more staffing, and so that would be more of a objective to move toward. That wouldn't be, hey, Steve, you have it here tomorrow. Hey, see, we don't need this contract anymore. No, it definitely would not do that, Steve.
There's a couple of doors. I think there's a couple of doors that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know where.
I love that conversation.
It's a lot more than just warm bodies in the seat. And that's the thing that you always got to remind people of. Even like last night, I was at a different presentation, different fire department. And they gave the example that when they lose a lead medic from their fire department, it takes them 4 years to replace that person. And that's just how valuable those people are in what their knowledge base is. And you need them to run your ambulance system effectively. So a lot of times people think, well, just an ambulance, you put anything on that rig. If you're going to provide quality care and do it right, you need those people. And you can't just say, well, we have it, we're going to put any guy on that ambulance. Right. Right.
If you want an ambulance tomorrow.
Is that,
But not two.
not yet. But when we get, yeah. not yet. But speaking of people, right now, our number to have, we're 3 guys short, what we want to have. We have 2 of them that are in the process. One, we just got notified that he's passed his first required physical. You didn't reach out to him today, did you? Yeah,
No,
right?
not yet.
So we're gonna find out when we can move up his start date. Initially, we're targeting more closer to April, so hopefully move him up sooner than that and help with the overtime we're doing now to fill his spot. And then the other person, we're just waiting for him to complete a test, and we'll get him on board here in the near future as well. So our staffing is coming online where we need it to be, so. Facilities, probably our biggest thing is our station up north is, they poured some concrete today, which is great. Hopefully they're going to pour some more tomorrow, unless the ice storm that's supposed to come here in a little bit prevents them from pouring in the morning, but at least we got the the exit ramp for the apparatus base poured. So that would have been a big hangup to not be able to move in, but now that is poured, curing. And, I think we'll probably, looking at maybe mid-March of, starting to do final walkthroughs. There. So about under a month, that thing will be doing our final walkthrough of being able to get into it. So that will help a lot.
Didn't you say there was some issue with your roof?
The roof is coming off and being replaced. So the roof has what's called oil canning. And it has, and it's a fight, whether it was bad material or bad installation. Either case, it looks a bunch of dents when you look at the roof. And we've told them that that's unacceptable. And they've agreed to, replace it. But they've asked to not have to replace it until later in the spring when it's safer to be on a metal roof. To be on a metal roof at this time of year, it's slip and slide, not very safe. And I said, that's fine. It would not prevent us from moving in, replacing that roof. But we may take the option to say, if you're gonna do it next week, let's just go ahead and wait and be out of the way. But if they're gonna have to do it until May, then we'll move in and then we'll just deal with it when they do it. But if they're talking with them today, they're trying to see if they can't get that, supplier, the material here, so they can actually do that in March. And then that way it can all just be done when we move in versus having to take it off while we're living in everything. So.
Any other issues with facilities, you know, generators gonna be going on?
Yeah, I understand about the gas meter. The gas meter yesterday, so that's could be a good thing.
Everybody knows the top of the.
Friday. Do you guys do Friday? Yeah. No. Yeah, I remind them a few times too, to pull the trucks outside before they cut the power. So the trucks are outside before the power's cut, just in case.
That's your good grace, the chief, to remind them.
More than 2 hours.
Speaking of which, the distribution was 41. Like if we send something to the station, the battalion chief on there as well, you know? Or should
Chief
they-
Marble identified 3 captains who would be responsible for that. So that's currently who's managing that endeavor and Order.co.
No. I'm sorry.
The email. So the email.
When we put together, if I send an email to station 41, do all battalion chiefs get that? Or should
I
they-
don't think so. It should be, but I don't think they are.
No, not all.
Okay.
No.
So all of them.
Yeah.
Swearing in ceremony. Thoughts?
When the badges come in. Hopefully by the end of February. Yeah. Okay.
My last thing is, can you be, not a huge list? I appreciate the numbers. January, is it easy for you to pull 2020 years? And get that, and get to me at least in June by line? If that's, I'd like.
No, we have to do something.
Send me that. Machine set up another. 16 calls in January.
Um,
New Carolina.
14 in New Carlisle. You know, almost 10%, right?
Yep.
So,
Any other questions from Chief?
I'll just introduce Nate Bishop. He's our new union president, our previous president, Jay, which you remember. He's now one of our battalion chiefs. So didn't think it was correct to have the battalion chief also be the president of the union, even though our chiefs are members of the union. So Nate's our new president. And Mark is our vice president of the union. I know. President. So Nate, you got any comments you want to say? Floor is yours.
You know, I'm new to this, so still learning. Be growing and here for the right thing. Everything's been going good. We got good relationship so far. hoping to continue that. And receptive and happy, and we're excited and looking forward to everything going on.
We had one of our first labor management pseudo meetings, not probably the full meeting yet, but we had our first one actually today, talking about overtime and how it's awarded and stuff like that. And it was a pretty productive meeting to get a lot done. I think everyone got to be there. Voices, talk about pros and cons, work through the system. Actually, pretty good.
Great. Anything to add? Nope. As Nate said, to move this territory forward, or leads, our members of the leagues.
Any questions, do we tell us? One thing, Steve, I'm going to. What about on the job injuries?
Very low. And truly, our claims history, especially when we were warring, we haven't had any at the territory so far, but our claims history is, as our sales rep always tells me, is off the charts low in terms of our on-the-job injuries, so that's been pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Other discussion item? Okay, entertaining motion to adjourn. Okay, stop recording.
Figure out how.
No, we really